Welcome back to the game. Pinoy hoop fans have all heard of Jimmy Alapag's recent call-up to be part of the Sacramento Kings coaching staff. Our own Boom Gonzalez caught up with the PBA and Gilas legend as the Mighty Mouse relived the day he reached another milestone in his legendary basketball journey.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Inside the Game, and special guest for tonight, the new player development coach of the Sacramento Kings and Philippine basketball icon, Coach Jimmy Alapag. Coach, brother, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you, brother. Great to see you, Boom.
You and I were together, I think, the day before you left the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken, 2 days or a day before you left the Philippines. And I remember, you were telling me this was a gamble, this move, you were anxious about it. You're putting all the chips in with this move, and look where you are now after all of that. This is a dream, as you mentioned. You also went through a very dark time professionally, and a lot of people don't realize that or did not see that because they thought, hey, he's in the G League, he's with Bobby Jackson, he's with the Kings organization, he's living the good life. Can you tell us what we don't know about that?
Well, I think, Boom, going back, and I do remember that. I think we worked together, I think maybe 2 or 3 days, like you said, before the family and I left Manila. Mm-hmm. It was just a huge leap of faith, I guess, for LJ and the kids and I. We'd been there for 20 years. And to come back to the States, obviously during the pandemic, it was a huge transition just for us as a family. And I knew before leaving Manila, I was really trying something that no one had tried before. In terms of playing the PBA for the number of years that I played, playing for Gilas, and then now making the transition to coaching, not in Asia or not in the Philippines, but here in the States, where I hadn't been in 20 years. So I just knew that there were going to be a lot of challenges, but did I expect the challenges to be as tough as they were? Not even close,
Really?
just because I hadn't been here in the States for so long, and it's kind of a out of sight, out of mind sort of thing, coming back. But, obviously, getting a chance to connect with Coach Bobby from, the first time that I spent the summer with the Kings, he's really extended family to me. And for him to offer the chance to join him on his staff in the G League was everything, and still is, because I wouldn't be in this position without him, without Paul Johnson, our former Stockton Kings general manager, who's also staying now with the Sacramento team. Those two were pivotal in just giving me an opportunity with the organization, the opportunity to grow and to learn. And the last 2 years have been amazing.
When you found out about the opportunity to become a player development coach in the Kings, the NBA Sacramento Kings main roster, how long ago did you know that possibility was actually there? And then when it was finally announced, give me, if you can take us through that day and that phone call or email or whatever.
So close to 6 weeks ago, I was getting ready for Summer League. I was going to be on Coach Luke Laux' staff. He's one of the assistants for Coach Mike Brown. Maybe a few days before official Summer League practice was going to start, had a conversation with Coach Brown, and he said, hey, I want you to focus on staying with Davion Mitchell for the off season, to help him and help whatever he needs in preparing for training camp and obviously next season. And he just said, hey, are you good with that? And I said, absolutely, coach. Not really knowing what the job entailed. It was just, hey, you'll help Davion in whatever he needs when he's training, whether it's early morning, late at night. And he's a guy who loves to be in the gym. And so went to one team practice, went to our first Summer League game. But the 4 days that we were there, Davion and I were at the gym every morning at 6 a.m. Over at Mendenhall Gym, right in front of the Thomas and Mack. So we worked out, for 4 days, and then flew to LA with him. We worked out there at one of the practice gyms that he uses in LA. and then we're off to Costa Rica, and that was going to be kind of his vacation, but he still wanted to work out. So we were in Costa Rica for 5 days, and every morning, 6:30, he'd come by the hotel, and we were off to the gym and doing his whole routine. And then Coach Brown calls and he says, "Hey, Jimmy, how's everything going?" And I said, "Great, Coach." I said, here in Costa Rica with Davion, I said, "We're on our way to Spain." I said, "But things are going great." I said, we're working, and I'm doing everything that I can to help Davion." He's like, "Well, great." And he just said, "Hey, I just want to be the first to let you know, it's been great getting a chance to know you better this past year." He said, "My staff and I, think really highly of you and how you work and what you do." And he said, "I just want to be the first to call and let you know that you're going to be on my staff, for next season." And I'll tell you,
Wow.
Boom, man, and I'm in the back of the van, so Davion's sitting in front of me, and tears are coming down my face. I can't even finish the conversation, and all I could say was thank you, and I said, "Coach, thank you for the trust, and thank you for the opportunity." I said, it's a huge blessing for the family and I. I mean, and literally, like, I could barely get that, out of my mouth, onto
Sentence
the
out,
call.
yeah.
And he says, "No, Jimmy, excited to have you. Monty's gonna call you, and he goes, we're gonna get this thing going. Excited to have you, and looking forward to next season. We'll talk more, when you get back to Sacramento." And so, funniest part,
Wow.
I'm literally tears streaming down my face, Boom. And Davion sees me on the phone. He turns on, like, "Hey, man, are you good? Are you good?" And I'm sitting there and I'm wiping my face and say, "Yeah, man, I'm great." And so then I was able to share the news with him. Coach Brown says, "Hey, Monty will call you and discuss all the details." And it was so funny because literally as soon as we hang up the phone, Monty McNair, our GM, calls. He congratulates me. I'm not sure if him and Coach Brown were together, but he congratulates me, and he's like, "Hey, Coach Brown and I talked, and so excited to have you on board." He goes, "Hey, here's the contract details, whatever." He's like, "Do you have an agent?" And I don't have an agent. I said,
Wow.
Monty, I just need to call my wife." And and he's laughing. He's like, "No, sure, absolutely." So boom, I call LJ, right? And I'm like, "My love, like, we did it." So her and I are crying.
Right.
Kids are screaming in the background. And so I'm like, "Hey, Monty said, hey, I told him I don't have an agent. I just need to talk to you." And she's like, "Well, call him back. Why are you talking to me for?" So I'm like, all right, I'm going to call him right back. And so 5 minutes later, I call Monty back. He's like, "Yeah, is everything okay?" I said, "Listen, Monty, this is probably like the quickest turnaround, with everything." I said, "But no, we're great." And he's
Let's
like,
do
"Okay,
it.
we'll get the contract sent to you and have it done officially." And yeah, man,
Oof.
all of those emotions, man, of the last
Wow.
2.5 years. And I think, Boom, the biggest thing was, leaving Manila after almost 20 years. I was there for 19 years, and I think you and I talked about that. And that was probably the scariest thing for me, is that it's like, man, this has been home, and Manila will always be home.
Right.
After, I met my wife there. 3 of my kids were born there.
Right.
Built some great relationships there on top of the basketball experience. And to leave all of that at, my goodness, 42 years old, during the pandemic and moving back, it was exciting to be closer to family, especially my parents, because they're getting older. And I was excited about the possibility of getting a chance to coach in the NBA, but really had no idea.
What a story. Holy smokes. Coach, that goosebumps, that story. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us.